Welcome back everyone, and today I have another video for kinemon, and this time I'm continuing the series that I've been doing for the leaders that I think I'm considering of bringing to the big event that is happening this weekend. And I just wanted to have all my options, and I'm just testing it out and want to see what I feel like it feels better for me at the moment, and what I feel like is gonna be able to give me a top 8, a win if possible, right? This game, this matchup, kinemon, I think is being a little bit underplayed, I think, at the moment. I mean, a lot of people has considered the deck as lost a lot of power because the Whitebeard matchup is not like the greatest matchup ever. It is really tough, and the Zoro matchup is still very decent. You can still beat them more than the Whitebeard one. But everything else that you have there, all the other matchups are very decent. The only one that you absolutely don't want to see is something like Z, because it's just a really tough matchup for the deck. But everything else is very decent and very, very beatable. But it really just depends on how you play the leader and how you use the tools that you have to your advantage. This is the list that I've been using for this leader. The main advantages of playing this leader for these big events, right, is that it is a fairly consistent deck, because you do have Momosuke, you have Bonnie, and you're trying to do the same thing consistently every game, right? And it is a fairly consistent deck at doing so. The problem, the main idea of the deck is following the curve where you go Okiku, Yamato into intermediate play into an Odin, and then from there you should be able to win any matchup for the most part, because that is a very powerful curve and really something really difficult to beat. Now the problem is that you don't always get the curve in that order, and then you have to keep some hands that are a little bit subpar for that to follow that curve. And that's where the leader loses a little bit of an advantage, right? But it's still very powerful even if you don't draw that. The main thing that you do have to draw is mainly the Odin. If you don't see this card in many of the matchups, it's gonna be a problem. So it is heavily relying on that end too. But you do have a searcher, so you do have 4 ways to see that card, and you do draw a lot of cards too, with your killers, your Risors. There's a lot of cards that you draw cards in this deck, so you're able to see your strategy fairly consistently, and that's one thing that I do like about this leader, and about green leaders in general, right? And that's the main reason why I would like to bring it to this event, because I know during 9 rounds of, or 9-10 rounds, whatever it is, I'm gonna be able to do fairly the same thing fairly consistently. And if I know what the matchup requires for me to do to be able to beat it, then I'm gonna be able to utilize that and be able to compete, because I have the knowledge that my deck needs to do X, B, and Y to be able to win. And if I'm able to follow that plan, then I should be able to maneuver myself into a win. And that's why I like about this leader mainly. I've been liking the Law, I've been liking the Risos, the numbers that I have. I've been liking the 2K counters. I would like to maybe add the Paradise Waterfall, because it's good in the mirror, mainly in the green mirrors, because you're able to defend your cards much easier and much easily. But in general, the deck it functions very well if you know how to play it, if you do know what are your win conditions and what you need to find, and when you need to dig and when you need to defend. That's the main idea with the leader, because it's not like green as it was before, last set, because you do have to think that you can play big bodies and you can have a strong board, but your leader is no longer protected behind the A-drop. Although you could play the A-drop on this deck, and it wouldn't be terrible, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because you do have a lot of blockers to defend it, and you do have a lot of that thing. But the A-drop only solves one matchup, which is the blue matchup. All the blue matchups, it just solves that matchup. But I don't think you need it to win against that matchup versus any blue deck. You don't necessarily need that to win, because your Odin is sometimes just good enough to beat the blue decks. No, not sometimes. Most of the times it's good enough to beat the blue decks. So I'm not entirely sure you do need that card to beat the blue decks. But it's an option that you have. Like, that's more options that you have in your arsenal. I'm just not convinced that card is just good enough against red decks. And if you see it against red decks, it's gonna be mostly a brick. And it's not like the other leader where, yeah, you have excess of this card and you can just pitch them to the leader. This one doesn't have that advantage. If you have multiple A-drops of like any variety in your hand, you're not going to be able to deploy them like fast enough. The game is a little bit too fast for that. And then you're just going to die because you have no counter power in your hand and you're stuck with like this amount of breaks in your hand. And that's the main issue that I have with playing the A-drop, both the A-drops in the same deck. With that being said, I still think that the deck is very powerful. I think Whitebeard is a hard matchup solely on the fact if they see the ace, that's the card that I identified that is the problem of this deck. Because yeah, you play your Yamato, you play your Kiku, you're pressuring the opponent, but then when they drop an ace and then they're able to just eliminate your whole board, and they add a 7k, which is extremely difficult for this deck to remove. Unless you have an 8-drop, you're not gonna remove that guy. So then you're immediately in a clock versus that card, which is a 7k attacker, which is a good number to attack your leader. So that's the main issue that you have versus that deck. It is really dependent on how many aces they see. It's not so much the 9-drop or all of that, because you do have answers for the 9-drop. But it's just how, like, if they see their ace on curve, it's gonna be extremely difficult to win because that card is just on curve. It's gonna destroy your board, and it's gonna be able to just for the rest of the game. It's gonna be a 7k attacker. So you are immediately in a clock that is gonna be hard to outrace, depending on whether or not you have an Odin on board or not. Which is gonna be really important for you to be able to combat at least that card, right? But for the most part, the deck is very good. Having these cards to be able to just distract your Whitebeard opponent a little bit, force them to either play removal or attack it, so you don't you get the pluses to your hand, is really important too. So you have a lot of plays to do early game against those type of decks, and that's the reasons that I would bring this deck. I think it's very powerful. I think it can definitely win a tournament. And it is very consistent for that. I think if you're aiming for top 8 at the very least, or like a high placement, this deck is very good for that reason. Because it gets you there because of the consistency of the deck. It will get you to like a top 8, most likely if you pilot it correctly. Now to win the tournament is probably gonna take a little bit more. But again, if you pilot it correctly, it can be done for sure. I have some games. Again, I have one game. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to just do a video of me talking, and I just also wanted to bring a game. So if you guys want to go see it, let's go. Okay, and we're going second against Luffy, and we have the reason to play the deck, the curve, which is Okiku into Yamato. That is just the best curve that you can have. And if my opponent just decides to place something into the board, they're gonna lose their whole hand just trying to either protect it or protect it or just trying to destroy it, right? Here, however, he does play the Zoro, which the Zoro, I do want to combo a little bit because I see my hand and he has a lot of cards that I cannot counter with, and that is a problem. And here I drew another Kiku, which again is another card that I cannot counter with. So I definitely do want to attack into my opponent's cards. So he is forced to attack my Okiku, and then I use them as blockers at the same time. That's what I want to be doing here in this matchup, because I have too many cards that I cannot counter with. And because I drew another Okiku, I'm able to attack the Zoro for 7, either guarantee 2 cards from my opponent's hand, or KO it completely and remove that pressure from me. And then at the same time develop another Okiku, which is still gonna be good next turn, depending on what my opponent plays. Again, the rush cards are very good against this deck because, yeah, you're able to you're not able to just remove them by putting them on rest mode. And here he plays the Jet Pistol and attacks my Okiku for 7. I am okay with this result. He wasted, not wasted. I mean, he has to do all these things to be able to win, but he doesn't have any pressure on board. And I'm able to just attack with the cards that I have. I should have attacked with the kinemon first. I don't know why I did that, but he outcomboed that one, so it's still fine, I guess. I play my Bonnie and I play a blocker as he's now forced to attack my Bonnie. But I'm gonna defend it because then he's forced to attack with a rusher into a Bonnie, and that's okay. That's I'm okay with that result, which is what's gonna happen. Okay. And I still have another Bonnie, so it's not even that big of an issue. And him destroying my Bonnie allows me to have only one card on board, so I can still use my leader ability and still be able to pressure this Zoro or whatever he plays. Now he has 4 energy up, so he can still have a jet pistol, or another rusher, depending on what he does here. Another rusher would be really good here for him. But no, he has the Luffy. Now I'm half tempted to just play the Yamato and get some value there. But I think just playing the Odin right now is better. The reason why is because he's going into his 9th turn, and I want to develop the Odin the turn that he's playing the Whitebeard, because then he's not gonna be able to defend it. And here I want to play a little bit around jet pistol. So if he defended the Zoro, I attack the Zoro for 7. But because he didn't, I just attack the leader for 7 and just play around jet pistol that way. If he wants to attack my Yamato, that's fine. Again, the more time I get with my Odin to be untapped, the better it's gonna get for me. Now, if he does play the 9-drop, I do have to. Okay, so he doesn't play the 9-drop, so I am immediately much better right now. I don't have the problem that he's gonna be able to go for game or whatever. He does have a Luffy, and again, rushers are really good against this deck in general. But I will take the 2 damage because right now I need cards so I'm able to defend my Odin, and that's the most important thing that I'm concerned about, like not having enough cards to defend my Odin. And here I will play the Yamato, and then just attack the Luffy. He only has 3 cards in hand, so if he wants to defend the Luffy, I am very okay with that. If he's trying to buy time for like a Whitebeard play, maybe, then that's okay too. But he combos the Nami and something else, so I'm okay with this result. I'm still gonna be able to remove it, and I guess he wants to keep 1 card on board, but that card is gonna be a Brook, so it's not like that impactful, to be honest. And I'm definitely gonna do my Bonnie into blocker play, double blocker, so I can defend my Bonnie. And now he's not gonna have much removal for the Bonnie anymore, so I will definitely defend my Bonnie twice, because she's gonna keep giving me value, and if I get a law, it's gonna be very important. That's what I'm trying to dig for. A law right now on this spot is gonna be able to maybe win me the game, so that's what I'm trying to establish here. Now he doesn't have the 9-drop, so the game seems pretty over to me. That's the card that you need to do. If he has to attack for 7 here, and I can just block that attack, it's just the turn is completely wasted for my 1 mana play. So that's extremely good for me. Next turn, I'm definitely gonna get rid of the Brook, because if he wants to remove my Bonnie, he has to attack it, and I really got the value just because of that. And here I will play around the jet pistol again, but I'm start to think about closing the game right now. An attack for 8, I could attack for more, but he has energy up, and he's gonna still have the radical beam, and if he wants to use it, that's fine, because I do want to play my blocker and keep up on Gibson, so I have all my defense activated for the late game here. And now again, he's in a really tough spot. He does need to be able to play a Whitebeard right now, and he needs to start attacking my leader. He attacks the Bonnie again, but again, I will defend it because she's giving me another extra card every turn, and the card that she's giving me is more likely a blocker and that's very important for me to be able to win the game here. He attacks my Yamato, I think, and I am okay with that. If he wants to destroy the Yamato, that's just, again, another card that I am able to block, and I don't have to worry about anything. Now here I can just go for game. I use the Bonnie, I get the law, but okay, so my opponent conceded here because I can just go for game most likely and win. Although I will probably not do that. I'm probably just gonna attack the Luffy, and then attack for like 5 the leader, and then if he takes it, then attack with the Oden again, and play a law, play a blocker, and I'm okay with that result. I'm okay with that turn because he's most likely not gonna be able. No, he's definitely not gonna be able to kill me. I have 5 2k counters and a 1k counter, so I was gonna be very okay next turn. I just needed to clear his board, like prevent him from doing me damage, and the following turn after that I was gonna win the game. So that's how I played the deck. That's how I do the things that I do. With that being said, that is all that I have for today. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day.